It's Saturday, February 15th, 2025. Still working in the shop, of course, but I did get the pallets complete, so they're ready to go. And today I've switched gears and I'm building covers. I've got a kind of a schedule that I need to build about 30 of these a day for the next couple of days, just because of what's going on in the workload, etc. The cold weather is still with us. It's just inching up every day. It's 3 in the afternoon. It's minus 21 outside. But again, beautiful day. It's not windy. It's sunny. You know, really wouldn't be a bad day to be outside doing something. But, you know, I've got a lot of work to do in here. There's nothing pressing outside. I have to wrap up these pallets. And that's kind of a job for outside because I don't have enough space in the shop. So, yeah, I just thought I'd maybe show you kind of how I'm putting these covers together. This is kind of the same process, whether I'm making a 6-frame cover like I'm making today. I can make a 10-frame cover. I can make a 4-frame or 5-frame cover. It's exactly the same. Just how wide the plywood is and how long the cleats are. And that is the only difference because the shims are exactly the same part. Well, I shouldn't say. The long shims are exactly the same part. The short shims then vary, obviously. So anyway, let me show you what I'm doing here. You can tell I'm kind of bored with this, but you know, it's kind of what I do for job in the winter. It just gets a bit tedious, but I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm using an 1.5-inch nail for the end cleats and the top cleats. I'm using an 1.25 inch number 8 Robertson head screw to clamp down the top cleat, and I'm using a 1-inch staple to secure the shims underneath. It's only 1/2 inch, so it's going into 3/4 inch plywood, so I can't have a staple. It's too long. These work well. It's really, again, the mechanical fasteners are mostly there for clamps. If I had enough clamps to clamp everything, I would do that because it's really the glue that holds it together. Okay, so here you can see plainly that this hole is not in the center, and that's because there's a waste strip here, right? I have a jig on my drill press that I can put this cover in, and it'll drill that hole in relation to one side and one end and one side. So that hole is drilled in relation to, you know, say like this. And I say that because I've drilled the holes, and my covers, I haven't even cut them to length yet. So this is far too long. That's got to be cut off somewhere there. So that hole is drilled in relation to this corner. So this is a finished side, that's a finished side. When I'm drilling it, I have a can of spray paint and I just run a little bit on there to tell me which is the waste side. So when I start building, I'll put the waste side away from me, meaning the finished side is here. And then I'll try to find what's the nicest side. This is a pretty nice surface, and this is a pretty nice surface too. But there's a few, you know, there's a little bit of knot material missing there. It's a little rough there. So I'll almost arbitrarily choose that as the top, okay? And again, then I start with the top down, because my first part that I'll put on is the end cleat, and I do that with the cover upside down. A little bit of glue. This is Titebond 3. It's a waterproof glue. It's also food grade, so kind of makes me feel good using this, you know, in beehives, because, you know, we're in food production. I'm working with one airline today, so I have to keep changing. Now, I want to flush this corner, but you can't ever get it perfect. It's hard to get it perfect. So as long as this cleat is not proud of this side, I will trim this a little bit. So just make sure that's not proud. Put 4 nails in that, and I can tell that at least one of those nails kind of blew out. I haven't had a blowout all day, but as soon as I start making a video, I get a blowout. Now I want to make sure this glue squeeze out isn't going to run down the cleat when I turn it over. So there's actually 2 blew out. Now there's a couple different things I can do with that. It's not a big deal because my top cleat just covers that all up, no problem. But I want to make sure they're not a hindrance to get that top cleat nice and flush. So I can pick this up, cut it off, make sure it doesn't go in my eyes. Cut those off. I have a square face punch here. I'll just make sure that end is below the surface. See, I haven't done this all day, and then I start the video. I guess it's good. I get to show you how I fix problems. So woodworking is a lot like beekeeping in that it's a big exercise in problem solving. So again, here I'm going to pick the nicest side, and I'm going to put the glue on the side that's opposite the nicest side. I've been putting too much glue on these, so I'm trying to cut back. I'm a glue junkie. A little bit of squeeze out's good. You want a little bit of squeeze out. If you don't have squeeze out, then there's a distinct possibility that your joint is dry in certain areas. Okay, so put this like this, and again I'm going to flush it to this end, but I'll just push it in a tiny bit, probably a 32nd of an inch, hardly perceivable, mostly so that I know it's not proud. If that were proud, then it would cause me big problems. Because I'm right-handed, I want to turn this around. And every time I turn it, I have to remember which side is my flush side. It's pretty obvious here, right? But sometimes it's not quite as obvious. So, get this on here. Okay, so that's the last nail that I'm driving in this cover, so I can change to my stapler. Flip this over. The next operation is to drive 6 screws. Now this clamps the top cleat to the plywood. Take a good look at those screws, because when this cover is done, you'll never see them again. Okay, it's time for the shims. So I know you can't see this part, but I try to get some glue on the end cleat as well as the plywood. And again, I often put too much glue on here. I'll start with this side. And again, ever so slightly shy of that side. I don't want it proud, because I will trim that one more time. Most of my trim material will be on the other side, but I will run this past the saw blade when it's when the glue is dry. Because if you watched my builds last year, you'll know what happens if the glue's not dry. Money starts evaporating out of my wallet when that happens. If there's any imperfections in that little cleat, I'll hide them. You know, there's different decisions I make for different reasons. Some make the product stronger, some of them make it more functional, and some of them just simply make it look nicer. It's actually pretty nice plywood top and bottom. And that's it for that cover. I want to clean any glue that's on top of the shims at the corners. I want to quickly check this joint that there's no major glue there. But if there's glue inside here, I'll leave that, because it'll do nothing but good for the construction and the waterproof nature of this once it's set. I'll make sure there's no glue along here, because that runs along the table saw fence. Okay, I'll do one more just for your entertainment. So that side looks nice. battery's down. I can tell by the way it's operating. Okay. Oops. I'll wipe this side. Yes, I usually wear my hearing protection when I'm driving screws and staples. It gets a little bit loud. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. And just over half done my allotment of covers for today. I may do a few more depending on how I feel. It'll just ease the pressure on tomorrow. So I really appreciate you watching. Take care and have fun. It's Saturday, February 16, 2025. Out here at the shop a little bit earlier. I'm trying to get my stuff done in the house and get out here a better hour these days because I want to get this done. I'm setting myself a goal of 30 covers a day, so that's 3 days worth of covers. And I thought even if it stretches into a fourth day, that's okay, because I was planning on 30 assembling 30, and then I'd have to do all my trimming and routing on the fourth day. But I'm doing some of the trimming now. You can see some of what I built here yesterday. I did do 30, and I plan to do 30 again today, but I'm going to do some trimming and some routing so that they're done and I can move them out of the way. I've got, I don't like walking from end to end in the shop. It's congested. I can't just move around. I have to shinny past things because there's small areas to get through. So, so what I'm doing here today is I'm trimming off that excess. You saw me assembling, there was excess on the side. And so I'm trimming that up and making that a really nice flush joint. Okay, so I will do that on the rough side at just over 11 inches, just a 1/16 over 11 inches. And then I'm going to cut it a second time and take care of this. And this is why I was saying in the assembly that I want these parts to be just a hair shy of this plywood. Because I want the plywood to run on the fence for the first cut, and then once I run it through there a second time, that'll flush that all up really nice. That just makes a extra special product in the end. And then I'll get my router out and I'll do the roundovers on pretty well all of the edges. And I'll explain kind of the logic there when I'm doing it. There's about 3 different things at play there for the roundovers. But I thought I would just show you kind of how I'm doing this. I do it in 2 cuts to minimize tear out on the project, and I'll explain that too. So take a cover. Normally I just run this cover through. You can see that's the rough side. But I'll start actually by doing this. I think Tom Bacon suggested I do this last year, and it works great. So I run this through because what was happening is if I just cut it through like this, everything is good on this side, and then as it comes through, this side just blows out a little bit. There's a couple different things you can do. You could run that through with a sacrificial piece, and I was at one point run that through with a sacrificial piece, and that'll hold these fibers in place while they get cut. But Tom said, hey, why don't you flip that over, just run it through up to about there to cut that face, and then flip it back and do your main cut. So that's what I've been doing, and boy, does it ever work nice. So I'll show you that. So you can see that goes pretty easily. One of the difficulties here is the dust that it produces on the top of the table, because the cover material doesn't sit flat on the table. This table saw has very good dust collection. However, when the material doesn't sit on the table, it's sitting up here, then the dust tends to just largely come out here. I think a lot of it does go down the hole, but still you get a lot on the table. And, you know, again, starts to make me sneeze. So I'll turn this off. This blade, as you can imagine, is a nice, freshly sharpened blade. So that's what you really want for a job like this. Make a very nice cut. And not only that, but it's a high tooth count. This is a 60 tooth blade, and I think my orange one is 80, but this one's sharper than the orange one. The orange one hasn't been sharpened for a little while. So this is making a really nice cut on those, making a very nice finished product. So I'm done with that blade for now, so I'll get rid of it. For my next trick, I've set my little tiny roundover bit in my handheld router here. Sometimes they used to call these a palm router. because it doesn't have the big handles on it. These came out of a tool called laminate cutter when they would lay laminate on a countertop or something. In the old days, it didn't come from the store all the time. You'd put a piece of not OSB, but MDF down, put contact cement, and then lay a sheet of Formica, sometimes they call it, that's a brand name. And they'd use these little routers to trim the edges. It's called lam cutter or laminate router. And then people started to realize how handy these things are, and they just became a mainstream router. So anyway, enough with a history lesson. So this is just to round over all of the edges on this. So the only edges I don't round over is the inside of the shim and the top of the feed hole. Really, I need that to be a nice sharp edge to catch the feed plug. So this is how this goes. I'm going to put my hearing protection on. This thing's loud. Okay, here's the logic behind this. The practicality of this is twofold, and that is when that chamfered runner sets down on this cover, when you're moving bees, you're stacking the beehives, this roundover really does help that runner to slide down in there. If it's not routed, if it's square, that will catch pretty easily. And the other is a similar situation. I make my covers pretty tight. My boxes are 20 and an eighth, and I go for 20 and an eighth. So I usually end up with the end cleat splaying out a little bit to give you space. But that roundover actually, when you put that on a box and it's kind of tight, it does actually help it slip over the corner and down onto the box. So that's 29 to go. There is a non-functional reason for these roundovers too, because you have to experience it to really know. But when you pick up a cover like this, and that's rounded over, or you pick up a cover like this edge is rounded, this edge is rounded, you pick it up like this, like that, you can really tell the difference. I work without wearing gloves most of the time in my bee yard. And so when I'm handling covers and I pick up that cover that's had those roundovers, I do have some older ones that I didn't do this roundover on, and I can really tell by touch which is which, because it's so much more comfortable. It actually feels lighter. When you pick it up and it's rounded over, it feels lighter, just I think because it's not as harsh on the hand. So I think that just makes a really nice finish. Once you wax dip that, it gets even better. It's very nice to handle, and I hope the customers appreciate that too. Even if they don't realize that's why they like it, I think they'll like it, and they'll come back. They'll order more. So I have 28 more roundovers, and then I have 30 more assemblies to do today. I was going to point out the weather, of course, every day. It was cold again last night, well below minus 30. It's in the high minus 20s right now, and it's still morning. So it's definitely hanging on here. But the temperature is going up a little bit every day, going up a little bit. And by a week from yesterday, it's going to get actually comfortably warm. It's going to be closing in on the freezing point of water. So that will be a little bit of a nice reprieve. We've had quite a bit of cold weather lately, so that'll be really nice. Anyway, I'm going on and on. Thanks for watching. Take care and have fun. It's Monday, February 17th, 2025. I was editing video and I realized yesterday I said it was Saturday, but it wasn't. It was Sunday. Okay, so this is the last big push to get these covers done, and it doesn't sound like much, but it is a bit. It takes me about an hour to trim and route 30 covers. I've got 30 blanks sitting here. There's actually 31 because I got out of step on how many I had done. So it took me about an hour to trim and route yesterday's batch of 30. I didn't bore you with that because I showed you how that goes already. So I've got, they're over by the door. I have 2 of these pallets stacked with 30 covers each. So that'll make a nice little batch. I can take 3 of those, and that'll take all 90 covers. And then I can wrap up the other 27 pallets. That's 9, isn't it? So maybe I can go 9 high. So regardless, yeah, it's busy times. And tomorrow I have to spend time to trim and route the batch I'll build today, which is going to take me all day. It takes me till 6 o'clock or more to do all 30. And it's only about noon now. So tomorrow, yeah, after I do the trim and route, I have to, yeah, I'm tired. I only seem tired because I am. And after I trim and route tomorrow, I need to go to some of my stores, which is really great. I get to drop off some more product, get the stores filled. And I actually picked up another little store. I don't imagine they're going to sell tons, but hey, if I can drop in and sell a box or 2 of honey to somebody, that's great, right? That's, a small box is nearly $100. A big box is $150. So we're good. The boxes aren't small and big. The jars are small and big. Which I guess makes the box big too. So that's really nice. I'm going to hit how many stores? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to hit 5 stores tomorrow. So some take more honey than others, but it should be a pretty good day. It's about 30 miles to the farthest store, and they're just kind of dotted along the way, all the way there. I actually do most of the deliveries on the way back because if I run out of honey, I want to run out at the stores that are closer to me, not the one that's farthest. So I'll drive all the way to the farthest one, fill them up. They're one of the biggest stores in that whole grouping. There's 2 larger stores, and when I say large, go through the most honey. So they're probably the second largest. The closest store goes through the most, which is nice because I can go there pretty easily. It's only about 5 miles away. And so then the farthest one I'll go first, fill them up, and then start working my way back at the smaller stores. So I'm just rambling because I'm kind of stalling, but I better not stall because this goes really late. I get so tired and so sore standing here. I need to get out my foam pad to stand on. My knees are starting to really hurt, so I haven't been standing on a foam pad. I think that's really impacting me. Yeah, that's about it. That's all that's going on. There's not too exciting around here. It's very cold. It was minus 30 last night. It's minus 25 now. Again, sunny and not real windy. A little breeze today, not much. But a few more days of this, they say, and by the weekend we should be seeing some warmer temperatures, which is really great. All right, enough stalling. I'll talk to you again tomorrow, hopefully. Take care and have fun. It's Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, and voila, my major build orders for the year so far, anyway, are done. I try not to accept orders past late January, perhaps into February, because if they're of any size, then that just puts pressure on my beekeeping season. But I have a couple of little things that have been ordered, plus I'd like to build some things for myself. I need more bee escapes. I've been meaning to build those for years. I never have. So I think I'll build about 50 of those perhaps. And I also want to build more of those honey super pallets I built last year. It was kind of a proof of concept. It was sort of a prototype thing, and I nailed that because they're just beautiful. I love using those things. So I think I might build maybe just another 5 of those to take up the slack, because I noticed that there was times when I was filling them up and I really wish I had more. So anyway, that's what the stack looks like. I've got all the covers over there in the back, and then the pallets sitting here. And those will have to be wrapped up and taken over to the dipper. And I think they're all going to ship out from the dipper, either be picked up or sent out on truck from there. So that's really nice. I can just take that one way. So yeah, sending the invoice is always going to be nice. You know, it's always nice to send the invoice, get the product paid for. You know, I always front the material. And you know, to their credit, most of my people who buy larger orders of equipment, they always offer to pay a down payment, or deposit, or whatever you want to call it, just so I can go out and buy material, which I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful for. I always try to buy the material myself, front the money for the material. I just have this thing about being beholden. You know, if the world comes to an end, then I don't want anybody having prepaid for anything. If maybe I get hurt and I can't do the order, right? And now I'm in $5,000 to somebody because they paid me for stuff they're not going to get. It's bad enough not going to get it, but it's doubly bad if you paid for at least part of it. So there's always that. It just does my stress level a lot better if I don't take any payment until it's done and delivered. I have the same policy for honey deliveries, actually. People order, especially first-time customers. You know, they're not sure of what my terms are, and they want to pay up front, and I say, no, don't do that, because you never know what's going to happen, and I'd rather not have to sort it out on the other end. I'll deliver. You can pay me cash at the door. You can e-transfer, that sort of thing. So that I've never been ripped off. So, you know, if you're watching this and you want to rip me off, then you probably can, but you'll be the last one. Anyway, I've got to get going here. I have to get the tractor out. You can see how I can barely get in there. So I'm going to get the tractor out, and the truck is sitting out back. I'm going to load some of this honey into the truck, and then I have to skedaddle to my stores, load them up. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day of deliveries. I expect to deliver. I'll bet you it's going to be close to $1,000 worth of product today. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's always a good day when you can, you know, get to 4 figures. It doesn't happen a lot, but you know, it makes up for a lot of days you don't sell anything. Yeah, which, you know, that'll go a long way to my month. My month has been a bit slow so far, income-wise, and I probably won't see that for up to 30 days because my stores get 30 days invoices, and so that's not going to show up for February, likely. I'm not expecting it to anyway, but no, that's fine. That's the name of the game. It's actually kind of nice because, you know, I won't be expecting money and then suddenly money shows up and it just keeps coming in, which is really nice. Okay, I am stalling because it was minus 34 last night. No, it was no, it wasn't that bad. I'm overestimating. It was much warmer than that. It was minus 32 last night, and it's minus 24 now, as far as my weather app says. But just to kind of show you what's going on here, I took a picture of that this morning of my weather station, and you can see it actually says it's minus 32 and feels like minus 36. So, of course, that's C, right? But at that level, C or F, it doesn't matter much. Minus 40 C is the same as minus 40 F, so you're getting close to that equilibrium. All right, I'm gonna put my big boy pants on and my warm jacket, and I'm gonna get loading this truck. Thanks for watching.